I'm going to show you what to do with your leftover turkey. Or you can buy an extra turkey and make these. They're so good.
Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making tender and moist turkey tamales. This recipe is good if you have leftover turkey or a turkey that you need to make even after the holidays. So here's how I do it. First, you'll want to pre-soak your corn husks. Sometimes I buy packages that are really pliable even though they're dried, but these are extra dry. So I am actually going to put these in water. Here I have a pot with water. I'm going to add them to the pot. I'm going to bring the pot of water up to a boil. And then once it's boiling, I'm going to submerge the corn husks, turn the heat off, and just let them set and soak until I need them for at least an hour. So now I'm going to work on my chili puree. Here I'm using 8 guajillo chilies that I've already removed the seeds and stems from, 2 ancho chilies, and 2 pasilla chilies. If you can't find the other chilies aside from guajillos, just use all guajillos. I do that all the time. I'm giving these a good rinse, and I'm going to add water to the pot, and I'm going to bring the pot of water to a boil. Now I'm also going to add half of a small onion, 3 to 4 cloves of garlic as well. And once my pot of water comes up to a rolling boil, I'm just going to submerge everything, press it into the boiling water. I'm going to turn the heat off and let them soak for at least 30 minutes or until the chilies are pliable. Okay, so I've been busy doing a lot of other things, so it's been about an hour that they've been steeping and soaking. They are nice and soft, so I'm going to add them right into my blender. Now, you could also use some of the soaking liquid to help puree the chilies, but I find that sometimes it's bitter, so I'm going to add around a half cup to a cup of low sodium chicken broth. You could use chicken stock or broth. Now I'm just going to blend this until it is a smooth puree. You could also strain this for anything that didn't get blended, but I'm just going to skip that step. Okay. So now for the turkey. If you have leftover turkey, you'll need 2.5 pounds of chopped or shredded cooked turkey meat. Here I have a 10-pound turkey that I have thawed. It was an extra turkey that I purchased. So it's completely thawed. I'm going to add oil to the skin, and I'm just going to season it with a rub that I made. I'll put the ingredients below this video. You could season it with just salt and pepper. I'm not even going to stuff the cavity. I'm not even going to truss the legs. I've tucked the wings under. And I am going to be baking this in a preheated oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for around 2 hours, 2.5 hours if you decide to stuff it. And I also added some water to the bottom of the pan, around 3 cups. And I'm baking this until the internal temperature reaches 165 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can definitely cook your turkey however you like to cook it, but ultimately you will need around 2.5 pounds of cooked turkey. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the filling for my tamales. Here I'm going to reserve a 1/3 cup of that puree that will be going into the masa later. And I do want to show you that the turkey yielded around 2 cups of liquid, and that does include turkey pan juices and turkey fat. I am going to skim off 2 tablespoons of that turkey fat from the cup of liquid that I reserved, and I'm adding it to a preheated pan. And now I'm going to add the entire blender of puree, or what's left of it, aside from that 1/3 cup that I reserved. And I'm also going to add around a cup of some of that turkey pan juices and swish it around the blender to get out any residual puree that's left in the blender. So now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you find that's too much salt or you don't want to add that, add the seasoning and spices of your choice. You'll want to do it now. You'll taste your puree for flavor and you add what you like. I'm going to add my salt to this. Now, I'm going to add all of the turkey meat and combine it well and let it simmer for about 3 to 5 minutes until everything is combined and simmered and cooked. And this is what you end up with. This will be the filling for my tamales. Now I'm going to prepare the masa. Here I have 4 cups of instant corn flour, or I'm using the brand Masa. I'm adding 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to give that a mix. And for the masa, I'm going to use 4 cups of liquid. Now, you'll definitely want to use the fat of your choice. I'm going to go with this shortening. It's like a coconut palm oil blend. Lard is typical in tamales, so use lard if you've got it. Now I'm going to add that 1/3 cup of chili puree that I reserved from earlier. And I have my broth mixture on the side. That is a mixture of pan juices from the turkey baking and low sodium chicken broth. If you don't have turkey pan juices, but you have turkey, then just use 4 cups of low sodium chicken broth or stock. Or if you don't have that either, use warm water. But definitely you'll want to make sure it's equal part liquids to this. And you want to add it little by little, because even though I'm saying 4 cups, it might only take you 3.5 cups to moisten the maseca and get it to the texture that you prefer for your masa. So I'm going to mix this with my spoon, and then I'm going to fluff it up and mix it for about 5 to 10 minutes until it's all combined and fluffy. And thanks to my commenters, one commenter said that if you add a little bit of your masa into a glass of water and it floats, then you know the masa's ready. So here are my pre-soaked and cleaned corn husks that I had in that pot of water earlier. They are soft and pliable. So I'm also going to be using my turkey filling. And this is basically the chili puree and the shredded turkey meat. And again, you'll need around 2.5 pounds of cooked turkey meat for this. And over there on the side is my masa that I prepared. Okay, so to assemble your tamal, you will take a corn husk. There's a rough side and a smooth side. You'll want to add the masa to the smooth side of the husk. I'm going to take a couple of tablespoons of masa dough and spread it the best that I can. I like to use a little flat wooden spoon. Use the method of your choice. And once my masa is spread on about 2/3 of the tamal, I'm going to add my filling. And you can add a little bit or a lot. It's up to you. Now I'm going to fold one side over, and this extra piece of corn husk, you can rip it off. I'm just going to sort of fold it back, and then you enclose it. And you'll want to fold it up on the seam just like that. And that's how you do your tamal. You could also use little extra pieces of corn husk to sort of tie and secure it, but I find just folding it up, it does the job. So now I'm just going to continue spreading the masa and assembling all of my tamales. So once I'm done assembling all of my tamales, I ended up with around 51, which is pretty good because with this recipe you definitely can get around 40 to 45. So I did pretty good. So now I have a 16-quart pot and I've added around 2.5 liters of water to the bottom. I'm inserting the steamer plate with a stone bowl in the center, and I'm going to stack all of my tamales around the bowl. Now, I always like to say, the tighter you pack your pot, that will definitely vary the cook time. These will take somewhere between 1 hour and 30 to 2 hours, depending how tightly you pack the pot. So now that all of my tamales are in my pot, I am going to add some leftover corn husks. By the way, for this entire recipe, you'll need at least 50 good corn husks for the tamales, a little bit more to add extra on top here. Now I'm going to add a damp tea cloth right on top of those corn husks. I'm going to tuck that in. I'm going to cover this with a lid, and I'm going to bring the water to a boil. And once the water starts to boil, I'm going to bring it down to a medium heat just to give it a gentle, constant boil or gentle simmer, and it's going to cook for around 1.5 hours. That's when you start the cook time, when it boils. So this pot actually took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to cook, and you can always test it by grabbing one and seeing if the tamal will come out easily from the husk. That's when your tamales are done. And even then, even when they come out of the husk, they might still be sort of soft and tender. They will still be cooked. You just need to let them set. So I'm going to remove all of my tamales from the pot, stack them here on my baking sheet, and I'm going to let them set for about 30 minutes before I serve. And they will still be warm, so they won't get cold, but the longer they set, the better they set up. So for example, this one came out cleanly from the husk. It's moist and tender and oh so delicious. And it's a good way to use that leftover turkey meat. So I definitely hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.